Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com, and I'm back again today to discuss what has gone on in free agency once again and what I think the Chiefs need to do as free agency drags on. So I made a video yesterday giving Brett Veach an early grade for how he's done in free agency so far, and it wasn't a very good grade because, well, the Chiefs haven't really done all that much. I don't think they've improved that much. They did a really nice job moving on from Tyrann Mathieu by signing Justin Reed. I loved the signing, but we haven't done anything since. And all of these other AFC West teams are kind of lapping us off the field. And I'm not going to do the entire rant again. If you really want to hear it, you want to hear what I have to say, just go and watch my last video before this one, where I give Brett Veach a letter grade for what he's done so far in free agency. But what I wanted to do in this video was look at who is remaining in free agency, specifically at the defensive end position or the defensive line, because the Chiefs desperately need defensive line help now. They need pass rush after everything has happened, and especially since, you know, all these other AFC West teams, all these other AFC teams, they are loading up on both sides of the ball, and you don't really have a pass rush to go up against them. And, you know, I mean, the Raiders now have traded for Devontae Adams. The Chargers, you know, they're bringing everybody back on their offense pretty much. And then the Broncos now have Russell Wilson, who's a really good quarterback. Like, these are going to be some potent offenses you're going up against. You've got to be able to get to the quarterback. And I know you've got to have defensive backs too, which is probably another video I'm going to have to make, because the Chiefs' defensive back room is also in shambles right now. They don't have very much talent in there, but I wanted to focus on the defensive line today because I think there's some moves out there that the Chiefs could potentially make that they need to make, because the pass rush looks pitiful right now. I mean, there's graphics up about the pass rush duos in the AFC West, and I'm seeing Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. I'm seeing Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. I'm seeing Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb, and then they show the Chiefs one, and it's Chris Jones and Frank Clark. And Frank Clark is horrible. I mean, that's embarrassing that they have to be forced to put Frank Clark up there just to complete the graphic. I mean, it's pitiful. So there's still some people out there on the defensive line that I think the Chiefs could make a move for. There's actually one trade in here that I wanted to talk about. Some of you who have been keeping up with free agency and everything going on around the NFL right now probably already know who that trade candidate is, but I want to talk about them in this video. But I'll save that one for last, and I will talk about a couple of the free agents I would still like the Chiefs to sign first. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first option is Zadaria Smith, who we all thought was signing with the Baltimore Ravens, or going back to Baltimore since that's where he started his career. But it was reported that after he got cut by the Green Bay Packers, that he was going to go sign with the Baltimore Ravens for 4 years and approximately $35 million. Now, there were a couple reports. I know one from Nate Taylor of The Athletic, who covers the Chiefs, and there was one from Aaron Wilson of Pro Football Network, and they both said that Zadaria Smith would be someone the Chiefs were very interested in, assuming he gets cut. He got cut, and then he went back to Baltimore, and it was only for about $8 million per year, and I'm like, well, everyone and their mother had Zadaria Smith going to the Chiefs, so like, what happened? Did he just want to go back to Baltimore, or did the Chiefs not offer money? I'm not sure. Some people say it's because of the back surgery he's coming off of, which, don't get me wrong, that's a concern, but I mean, the back injury was already common knowledge. It's not like it kept the Chiefs from signing him, because they were obviously interested. But now he's back on the market. Apparently he backed out of the agreement that he had with the Baltimore Ravens, and he's free for anyone to sign. And if I'm the Chiefs, I am doing everything I can to get this guy on the phone and potentially on the Chiefs for a rather low cost. I'm not sure why he backed out of his deal with the Ravens. It could be because he wants more money after what Von Miller got, but I think Za'Darius needs to be realistic with his market, considering he's 29, he's coming off of back surgery, and he's a rather large human being. You know, I'd offer a couple million more if that is what it takes to get the deal done over another team. Like, I'm not going to lose a player like Zadaria Smith over a couple of $1 million, but it just depends on how bad the Chiefs want him. But this is a guy that had double-digit sacks both other seasons he was in Green Bay. He was a Pro Bowler there, Pro Bowl level player. I mean, the Chiefs are desperate for pass rush. Like, you got to get something. You could fill a hole now instead of having to trade for somebody on the defensive line or hoping and praying that you nail pick 30 in the draft. You could get Zadaria Smith now, and it's a little bit of a risk, but it's also high reward too, because Zadaria Smith is really, really good when healthy. My next suggestion, another free agent, is Derek Barnett, the defensive end for the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of people may not be thrilled with this name. I know it's not a sexy pick, but Derek Barnett, he's still relatively young. He was only drafted back in 2017, 2018. I forget which year exactly, but he's still relatively young. Look, he's not a great pass rusher, but he does play the run pretty well. And the pass rush win rate charts, they love him, so that means he's beating his blocks and generating some pressure. He's able to draw some double teams and, not be terrible. He can fill snaps. At this point, the Chiefs, they're probably getting pretty desperate. They need to add someone in free agency. Derek Barnett is definitely an option. He only had 2 sacks last year, like I said. He's not great, but also you can't just judge everything based off of sack numbers. Like Melvin Ingram, he only had 2 sacks last year. But sacks don't tell the whole story with Melvin Ingram, because as you guys know, who watched the games, Melvin Ingram had a huge impact on this defense and the pass rush because he provided some juice off the edge. Derek Barnett, maybe he could be a little bit of the same thing. We know Veach likes former first-round picks. Barnett hasn't quite lived up to his first-round status, but I think he'd be a solid pickup, and I don't think he would be all that expensive. So he's ideal. I'll also add one other note. I'm not including Melvin Ingram in this, although I'm sure some of you have already gone down to the comments to say, why not Melvin Ingram? I'm kind of assuming that the Chiefs bring back Melvin Ingram. They must. I think it's a must. You have to bring back Melvin Ingram, and I think it will happen, but just thought I'd throw that in there before we get to the last name here. All right, now it's the one that everyone wants to hear about. Who could the Chiefs possibly trade for? That is Vikings pass rusher Danielle Hunter. The Vikings are rumored to be shopping Danielle Hunter, either that or restructuring his contract. And even if they restructure him, I think they could still maybe look to trade him because he just has a large cap number, and they need to find something to do, or else, they might not even be able to sign their draft class. But Danielle Hunter, he could be on the market, and if he is, I think the Chiefs absolutely have to check in, because that's the kind of move that you can make to match what some of these other teams have done, because Danielle Hunter is a monster of a pass rusher. I know a lot of you probably don't want to have to trade draft capital to go out and get a guy, but honestly, we might be at that point with the Kansas City Chiefs and trying to fix their pass rush. They might have to go out and get a proven name, and Danielle Hunter is more than proven. In his career with the Minnesota Vikings that started out in 2015, I must note he's still only 27 years old, so he's still pretty young. Not super young, but 27, that's not that old. Anyway, in his career, he has 314 combined tackles, 60.5 sacks, 73 tackles for a loss, and 90 quarterback hits. Those are monstrous numbers. Danielle Hunter, there's no doubt, he is a great talent. He's a great player. He's got a lot of strength. He has really good length as well. I think, he's 6'5", 263, maybe a little light, but still, the frame that guy has, he is just a physical specimen. What would it take to get him, though? Honestly, you have to consider the fact that he's only played in... so in 2021, he only played in 7 games. He had a torn pec, okay? And then he also had a neck injury he was dealing with in 2020. He didn't play at all in 2020. So he's had some injury trouble. So the Vikings, I don't think they can reasonably ask for a first-round pick for Danielle Hunter, especially because he's obvious. They consider him someone who could be a cap casualty, and when someone could be a cap casualty, you're probably not getting a first-round pick for him. And then on top of that, he's got these injury issues, these injury concerns. I don't think you can ask for a first-round pick I just don't think it's reasonable. If I'm the Chiefs, I would maybe go like a second and a fifth rounder, or maybe something similar to when the Rams traded for Von Miller. I think that would be fair in this scenario. And I don't think it would be depleting the Chiefs of their draft assets, but they also get a star pass rusher. Obviously, the medicals would have to check out. They have to make sure Danielle Hunter is in good shape, but I think you have to trust this Chiefs training staff to keep Hunter healthy if he were to hypothetically come to Kansas City. But man, he would be an amazing pass rusher. Him and Chris Jones, now that is a duo you could put it up against some of the best in the AFC. Danielle Hunter and Chris Jones would be absolutely amazing. And then if you bring Melvin Ingram back, now we're talking. That's the kind of move that I think the Chiefs might have to consider making at this point. You're desperate for pass rush because the market's pretty much dried up, and you're also hoping and praying, like I said, that you nail pick 30, and I don't know if you can expect that. I mean, the Chiefs were very, very lucky. I won't say it was all luck, but there was definitely a little bit of luck. And the fact that they landed Nick Bolton, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith all last draft, and they ended up being immediate contributors, and you could even argue that they were, all pros, Pro Bowlers. You cannot ask Brett Veach cannot ask himself to have that good of a draft again, and then on top of it, ask Mahomes to carry this team again. The Chiefs need to put together a complete team for their franchise quarterback instead of asking him to go out there and score 40 points a game, because right now this defense does not look good on paper. I mean, it does not look good at all. I love the Justin Reed signing, but he is replacing Tyrann Mathieu. You can only hope that he was as good as Tyrann Mathieu when he first signed his contract, and then you lost Charvarius Ward. You brought back Frank Clark, which obviously isn't going to be enough. Melvin Ingram is still a free agent. He technically hasn't been brought back yet. The Chiefs have a lot of holes, guys, and I'm getting kind of worried, so that's why I made this video. These are the guys that I think could actually contribute to the Chiefs' pass rush that they could possibly go out and get, whether it be through free agency or trade. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I would definitely like to hear from you guys what you think. Do you agree, disagree with anything I said? Do you like the names I put out there, or are you looking at anyone else? And also, are you guys a little bit worried about the pass rush like I am? Because I'm certainly concerned. But yeah, I'll have to see what you guys say in the comments. But all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com. I will see you all in the next one.